Hi, this is John with the Evolving World. Today I'm doing a video on upgrading the wheels and tires on a Chevrolet Bolt EV. So this is what we have here. So like a lot of people, sooner or later you're going to have to replace your tires on your car. And so when I looked at replacing the OEM tires, they were quite pricey. And it got me thinking about, well, do I even really like these wheels that much? I mean, they're kind of heavy. The tires are not all that great, so I think we can get better tires. But then I thought, well, you know, the ride is kind of rough on this car, you know, and well, rougher than I would like it to be. So, you know, usually it has to do with the sidewall. One of the good ways to improve the ride is to actually do what would be called a -1, and that is what we have here. So what we have stock is it's a 215 50 series tire on a 17-inch rim. So 50 series is the aspect ratio, so that's this dimension right here. And what we have over here is we have a 60 series tire, so it's 205 60 on a 16-inch rim. And so what that does is the overall diameter is virtually the same, so the speedometer is not going to be altered or anything. Mounting position is identical as well. The offset is either super close or identical. But increasing the sidewall size, we've now almost guaranteed to make a better ride because there's more rubber between the rim and the road. So this is a relatively low profile tire being a 50, and this one being a 60 is going to add just a little bit more rubber on it. So I think that alone is going to make a difference. Also, these particular tires are like top rated by Consumer Reports. It's one of the highest rated tire in this touring car class. So these are General Altimax RT43s, and they're very affordable. So actually, for the price of 4 tires, stock tires on the stock rims, I got 4 new tires with new rims combined for about the same price. So basically the 4 reasons I'm doing this, as I mentioned, reason number 1 was a better ride, almost guaranteed. Another interesting reason I'm doing this is that I weighed these. These are 45.6 pounds with the stock rim and the stock tire. These are actually only 39.6 pounds. So they're a whopping 6 pounds lighter, which is a tremendous amount of weight to take off of each wheel. It reduces the unsprung weight quite a bit. That's going to make a big difference in the handling, I guarantee it. From my past experiences with other cars, whenever I've had lighter wheels, it's really quite noticeable. What happens is the suspension reacts faster and the ride is smoother. So it handles better going over bumps in particular, and then the ride will be a little bit better too, just because it doesn't have to work as hard as when it has a heavier lump of it. Think of it like a work boot or something compared to a sneaker, a lightweight running shoe compared to a work boot. Which one's more comfortable? Which one feels heavier on your foot? Which one feels lighter? It's the same thing. It's the same basic physics involved here. It's just a lighter shoe, as you will, is going to make a difference on how the car handles. And so that's the 2 primary reasons. Another reason, well, 3 I guess, there was they look good. So the last reason would be the possibility of aerodynamics. I mean, so this is a 215 50 17, and this is a 205 60 16. So what that means is that the first number is the width of the tire. So this is 10 millimeters thinner. And so what that means is that we have slightly less frontal area. I wouldn't even expect anything really, to be honest. Although this tire in itself, just being a better tire, has actually, I believe it has equal or better rolling resistance than this one, even despite it being better in every other way. Because I mean, this tire is mediocre. Like, this one's better, like on all the statistics, the wet braking, the handling, the ride, everything was better on this one compared to this one. And that would be just if you just replaced the tire. So like the fact that we've added the sidewall to it, the fact that it's thinner slightly, and the fact that it's 6 pounds lighter per corner is going to be a huge difference. So I'm super excited to see how this is going to turn out here. So this is what they look like on the car, or at least the front one. It appears that the offset, I don't know if it's just an optical illusion, maybe it is, maybe just the design of it, but it appears to me to my eye that the rim seems to be sticking out slightly, like maybe a millimeter or two, because it looks like it just fills that wheel arch better. So anyway, let's go ahead and install the rest of these wheels on the car, and then I'll show you how to reset the tire pressure monitoring system, and then we'll go out for a drive and I'll give you my impressions. So now that our wheels and tires have been installed and the lug nuts have been tightened to spec, the next step is to go ahead and reset our TPMS sensors. So since we have new wheels on here, we have new sensors, so we have to tell the computer on the car that we have new wheels and tires, because otherwise it still thinks the old ones are on. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to buy a special tool. You can get this on Amazon or eBay. It's specifically a TPMS relearn tool for General Motors cars. So you have to, it's basically a GM car thing. And so for about between $5 and $10, you can get one of these. And you'll have to get yourself a 9-volt battery as well. And so once you've got that, the next step is to go in here. So we've got an indicator right now that one of the tires is flat. And what you do is you go down here and scroll to your tire pressure screen. And so it's showing that one of them is flat. That's because one of them is. Even though the wheels and tires are about 6 feet away from the car. The next step is to push on the center button here, the check mark button. Like so, and it's going to honk twice. Actually, it's going to give you a message first. Are you sure you want to relearn? And then we're going to go down and scroll down, hit yes, and then hit enter. Now watch it honk. So that means that we're active now. Tire learning active. So it even goes through the trouble of illuminating the lights here on each. So like the left front one is the one we want to start with, but it also even tells you by illuminating the light just on that corner of the car. All you have to do is basically hold this thing right here as so. And now we go over to the right front corner here. You have to do it in this sequence. There's only one way to do it. Go ahead and put this here. It honks, light turns off. Now we go to the back. Make sure this thing's touching the sidewall. So, now this light comes on. Go down here. And there we go. And it honks twice to let you know that it's done. Ooh, it's accurate too. That's about the tire pressure I put in there. And that's that. So I've driven the car for about 250 miles or so. And I'm just giving you some of my initial impressions. So the first thing that I noticed really different is that the ride quality is a bit better. Not too much in normal driving, but when you hit a speed bump specifically, especially those short stubby ones, the ones that are really kind of real harsh, you know, those particular ones, I noticed big difference. Like instead of like before where you would hit that kind of thing and then you get a little bit of a kind of a chop to it, you know, especially the back suspension will kick back at you. Well, it doesn't do that anymore. So it kind of goes over those types of bumps a lot more smoother. Same thing with like railroad tracks or basically any kind of bigger, bumpier kind of bumps. It will just go over a lot smoother, which is pretty much what I was expecting. But don't get me wrong, the ride is still very firm. It still handles great. It still has a very firm ride. It's just not as much as before. The other thing I noticed is that these wheels have a 38mm offset, whereas the original rims had a 44mm offset. What that means is that the outer edge of the tire is being pushed out slightly in relationship to how it's mounted. So the wheels do actually go outwards a little bit. It makes a difference on the aesthetics, but it also makes a difference possibly producing more drag too, because the wheels are slightly outwards. But I'm going to monitor that and see if it makes any difference for the long term. In the short term, it seems like I'm kicking up more stuff. So I'm not sure if that has anything to do with the offset, or if it's just the new tires, or just because there's more sand on the road. But I'll have to monitor that. Overall, I think it's a very solid improvement to the car. I like it a lot. I'll do a follow-up video in 6 months and let you know how, if anything changes between now and then. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Many more videos to come.